In our game of Hot, Not, or Sanctified, we're going to examine what exactly Easter eggs have to do with Mary Magdalene and Easter. So let's get right to the overview. Have you ever wondered why it is that we associate colored eggs with Easter? The answer can be traced back to Mary Magdalene and her testimony to Emperor Tiberius Caesar. After Jesus goes to the cross, dies, is resurrected, and makes his ascension, his disciples are challenged to step up to the plate of ministry and carry the gospel message to the world. Often we think of the 12 apostles, but there are many more disciples sharing the gospel. Not the least of which was Mary Magdalene, who not only worked with John the Evangelist in Ephesus, but also took the gospel to Rome. Mary Magdalene had an opportunity to take the gospel to Emperor Tiberius Caesar. According to legend, she was sharing the gospel with him, and he ridiculed the thought of a man resurrecting, even to the point of claiming that a man resurrecting would be just as ridiculous as the egg in front of Mary changing color. But Mary's egg did change color, and the emperor realized that there was merit and authority to her testimony. Other variations of the legend include a scenario where Mary Magdalene is bringing a plain egg to Emperor Tiberius Caesar, as it was customary to bring the emperor a gift if you were able to gain his audience. However, as she speaks to him, the egg changes color to give authority to the resurrection. Any way you hear the legend, it is always centered around the concept of Mary Magdalene evangelizing directly to Emperor Tiberius Caesar himself, and an egg changes color to show the power of the resurrection. Now for the question, hot, not, or sanctified. Of course, when we say hot, we are answering that this is a important theological inspiration for us. If we say not, then it is not theologically inspiring. And if we say sanctified, then we are saying only God's sanctified judgment can decide. Well, we have learned to Skype recently, and we have Amanda with us. So Amanda, what do you think about Mary Magdalene and her egg? Hot, not, or sanctified?
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, so in answering the question of hot, not, or sanctified on the story of Mary Magdalene and the egg, I'm going to have to definitely go with hot. And I do want to make a clarification when I say hot. I'm talking about the story. And the only reason I want to make clarification is because Mary Magdalene is often tied to some other stories about her and about her character that even in Scripture is not revealed or told. She's tied with the story of the woman who's caught in adultery and some other things, but that person is never really named. And all we know about Mary Magdalene for sure is that Jesus cast out demons from her, and then she became a follower of him. And then we hear through this story that she goes even to Rome to explain, to evangelize. And what really makes this truly inspirational, to truly get the mark hot on that, is the tradition says that she had to bring a gift, and she brings a simple egg, which seems so crazy that you go before an emperor, the ruler of the known world, and you bring an egg. And yet through her, through the simplicity that was her, through her gift, and through the message of Christ, the resurrection and the power of the resurrection was revealed. So that truly is inspirational.
All right, very good. And Anthony, what are your thoughts? Hot, not, or sanctified? Mary Magdalene.
I would definitely say hot. It's a pretty cool and interesting story. And I think, what compelled her to bring an egg as a gift for the emperor, we do not know. Perhaps it was the spirit, but I do think that it's a pretty cool story.
Well, on the egg thing, there are other legends, and again, this legend in of itself is something which is documented in church history as opposed to something which is derived straight out of Scripture. But there are other stories which have Mary Magdalene, when she goes to the tomb, carrying a basket of eggs with her. There's a few just different things throughout church history which involve Mary Magdalene and eggs. And that's really where some people put the origin of this. However, again, going before Caesar, she's got the one egg, it changes color. Sometimes it's depicted as she's at a dinner, and she has sort of the egg there as part of the dinner, and it's presented in that way. But in either way you look at it, it's always an egg changing color to represent the power of the resurrection. And my thoughts personally is, again, I think this is very hot. I like the idea of imagery being used in the church. Again, a lot of times we associate so much of church history, we say, oh, that's Catholic, that's not relative to us today. But yet we have things like Easter eggs involved in our regular Easter season. Again, at the time we're making this video, it's in Holy Week, and there are a lot of people who are going out to buy Easter eggs, and a lot of people are craving those Reese's eggs. But not always do we know the history behind why we've gotten things handed down to us.
One thing also that I think is interesting is that, like, if you just look at it kind of loosely, you notice it's like, well, all right, so the egg changed color in her hand while she was talking to the emperor. So what does that have to do with Easter? Which is funny because Easter is kind of misleading also because it's actually the celebration of the resurrection, right? So, whenever you learn also that their conversation and why the egg changed color was because he claimed that it would be as ridiculous as the egg changing color. The resurrection would be as ridiculous as the egg changing color. That really brings it all into like full circle,
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it very much comes full circle to the theme of the resurrection. Again, the entire claim is that the egg changes color to show that there is sincerity to the resurrection. It's very, very interesting. But anyways, we'll wrap up our game there. And if you really enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe, please share our content. If you want to support us, there's so much you can do in just sharing our content. We thank you so much for your viewership, and on that, have a blessed day.